I loves me some 1 degree of Chunky B.
Now, I just have to make a comment about Chunky B. Have you ever seen him looking so good?
The panel then includes actress Lainey Kazan, comedian Chunky B, and Playboy TV host Julie Strain. Chunky?
What was the question?
Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Chunky B, live and kicking in a garage of love. And what? Don't be shy. Come here. Come here. Make yourself at home. Hug me. Latch on.
This is creepy.
And yeah, I know. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know. I went right for the nipple. I went right for the nipple. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen. Chunky B, live and kicking in a garage of love. ChunkyB.tv. What a great week we're having. Thank you for responding, and thank you for the messages. We are now starting to develop a line of communication, and we couldn't communicate without the man across the table of love. Give it up for the executive producer, Gary Adler.
He always takes me by surprise, Andy. He takes me by surprise. But thanks for the warm welcome, Chunk.
Yes.
And ladies and gentlemen at home, if you're thirsty,
What would Andy drink?
Lucky Duck.
Yes, that's right.
That's right. From the Venice Duck Brewery, it's Lucky Duck.
Yes. You know something? Thank you, Steve Warren.
Christian Warren and John Henry Binder.
Where'd Steve come from?
I don't know.
Is that a rock star somewhere?
He might be.
Christian Warren, I know exactly who you are and what you represent. If you want to get your quack on, make sure it's through Lucky Duck. And
Venice Duck, people.
Yes.
This is the agave ale, and it's delicious.
You guys are doing the Lord's work as far as the nectar of the gods. Thank you so kindly. And the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, I have things to say about this today.
Okay, check this out. Astaglow. It's the cream that you want to put on your body.
Wait. You can't do it. You can't do a promo without laughing.
Dude, seriously. And they've got these caps.
Listen, I don't care what it's named, Chunky. I used it this whole week.
Yes.
And I feel like I'm...
Did you really?
Yes.
You walked into the garage of love, and I'm thinking, this guy moisturizes.
I moisturized.
That's awesome.
For the first time in my life.
More than just the one hand?
Yeah, I'm glowing right now.
Right on. So that's great stuff. Sponsors, we can't do it without you, and all our friends and fans tuning in.
Yeah, let's not forget the manimal.
Yes, yeah. Andy Davey, the man who's pushing the buttons. By no means he's the Wizard of the Knobs. Oh, let's give some love to Wizard of the Knobs out in the desert, and Andy,
the manimal.
Yeah. Awesome.
The manimal.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
So what do you say? What do you say we do a podcast? What do you say we dive into comedy information that is only available when you come on in?
That's right.
And
the people at North Carolina, they're stuck in traffic right now, Chunk.
Hey, North Carolina people, get your hand off the horn.
Yeah.
Slow your roll.
Yeah.
You're here, right here in the Garage of Love in Venice Beach, California. This is a warm, fuzzy feeling that you're expressing and feeling right now. And who also is feeling it is a super funny freaking guy that's just dialed in to our world very recently. I want you guys right now to give it up for Steve Randolph.
Hey, there he is.
So excited. It's almost like we have a show.
What's up, guys?
This is, you know something? Just as he said, look, and he looked at me with that handsome face, goosebumps. In a heterosexual way.
Wow.
I'm not sure that's... Not sure that can happen.
Yeah. Hey, dude.
I can't tell you why. I can't tell you what it's called, but there's a reason for that. It's a cologne I'm wearing. I'm sworn to secrecy. My buddy Earl Skakel turned me on to it. It has pheromones in it. You guys know Earl. And it turns people on. I was at the Shores, in Santa Monica.
Sure.
And I was over there. And this like the bellhop guy was like, "Hey, dude," he's a Mexican dude. He's like, "Hey, homie, I don't know how to say this, but like I'm straight." He's like, "You're turning me on right now."
What?
And he's like, "What are you wearing?" And I was like, "I can't tell you, but you're not gay. It's really expensive and it's designed to do that."
Is this for real?
Yeah, swear to God. Earl Skakel, you could ask Earl Skakel. I swore to secrecy.
If you want to talk
Skakel.
about a perfect sponsor for the Garage of Love,
yes,
you know what I mean.
But we have to have a name for it.
Well, you don't want because if everybody smells like this, then what's the
It'd be an
what's
orgy.
the point?
That's true. That's true. Your secret's safe with us. Your secret's safe.
You know what we say
Earl
here
Skakel's
in the Garage of
cologne.
Love? Never decline yourself of an orgy.
Yeah, no. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, this guy, speaking of drive-by,
Yeah.
you know, we were listening to his comedy a little bit this afternoon.
Oh,
and
yeah.
you have an interesting way of driving.
Okay.
Does your comedy based on in reality, or you're just fucking off up there?
100% based in reality. Yeah.
Wow. I love it, man.
So,
Hold on. I don't know if I'm just going to answer truthfully. Yeah, based on reality for the most part. Yeah.
the masturbation in the vehicle.
Oh, I haven't done that. That was an old bit.
But you did it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well,
I jerked off in my car.
I used to work at Hustler, dude. How do you get
Oh,
that?
you did?
Yeah.
You used to what?
I used to work at Hustler. I used to work for
Really?
Larry Flint. He owned a skateboard magazine.
Big Brother?
I used to intern at Big Brother, and I eventually started writing for them. And so we were the only non-porn. It was Big Brother, a boating magazine, a video game magazine, and 45 porn magazines. I was 20 years old. I worked there all day.
Yeah.
I would have to jack off. I would just buy a condom and jerk off in my car on the way home. I couldn't take it, dude. I would just be like, it changed some things. Yeah, I'm different
my
now.
God. That is so funny. That is. So you're from where, Pasadena?
From Pasadena.
And you've been in LA your whole life?
LA my whole life, yeah.
Is that an advantage or disadvantage?
You know, here's the thing. It's an advantage and a disadvantage. The advantage is I have places to hide over here. I work at the Comedy Store, so all my buddies from Kentucky, from Texas, when they have a bad set, they bomb. They're stuck out in the desert. I can go to grandma's house and have a sandwich. I don't, but you know what I mean. I have my little hiding spot. I have my favorite burger place. I can go over to Pasadena and kind of lick my wounds.
Right.
I'm at home. That's a pro. The con is I'm at home, so I don't feel a sense of urgency. I'm 35 and I just started getting my act together because I was like, oh man, it's right. You live on the Vegas Strip, like it's right there. It's right there. Whereas someone from Tennessee's over here, they go, oh shit,
I got to pay rent.
I got to pay rent.
Yeah.
Everybody's gone at home. What am I here for? So with me, it was kind of like I would dabble a little bit in the dream, go back, dabble a little bit in the dream. So it's pros and cons. But I think now it's kind of syncing up. I feel like I'm busting through to the next level. And you know, I know everybody here. I was born and raised here. I'm a hyper dude. I've been to 1,000 different schools, and I talk to everybody I see. And so I do have a lot like this. Like I just know everybody. I lived in Venice at one time 5 months ago. So I've been all over Southern California. So
Okay,
there's an
you've
advantage.
been all over the map. Are you just making money just with your mind?
Shit. I'm doing all right. This is the first time I'm doing all right. I have 2 jobs. I have 3 jobs. I work for an attorney during the day. At night, I work at the Comedy Store, and then I do stand-up.
What do you do at the Comedy Store?
I'm a door guy at the Comedy Store.
Is it still the Shores? Do they still own it?
Yeah, they still own it.
Wow, no
Yeah,
kidding.
it's old school, man.
Is Dean Gelber still hanging around?
Mm-mm.
No.
What about?
Oh, is that one of the managers?
He was
His parents do.
a while back.
His parents do.
That's funny.
What about our boy Philip?
Philip Conant?
Yeah. Is he there? Does he work there?
Craig?
Craig
Yes.
Philip Conant.
Yeah, no, he doesn't, but he does pop in and do shows there. He's my buddy. Has he been on the podcast?
Twice, yeah.
Yeah,
kidding
he's
me?
been on ours. He's great. He and I
Check
get
this out.
along.
You can't see it, but you see the orange.
Oh,
one
I see him. I see him right there.
He's the only comedian that we have his business card on our refrigerator.
Oh, no, he's the best, man. He's super funny. He's been on ours, and people just started tweeting at me randomly like a month ago that when are me and him gonna hit the road together? And I was like, I
that's
told him,
good.
I was like, really? He's like, really? I don't know, just some random. I love the guy. I can't say enough good things about him.
Yeah.
Both worked at Trader Joe's.
Yes.
Yeah, I worked there too.
Dude, he said,
Yeah.
come
Oh,
over
that's
here.
right.
Come over and play darts.
Yeah, he's great. He's the
a good
best,
dart
man.
player.
Wow. You know something? This is another piece of the puzzle in a comedy fight that is Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And you're a piece of the puzzle that feels awesome to put into our.
Yeah, it's fun
Oh,
that
thank you,
2
man.
guys on their way down can talk to a couple guys on their way up, you know?
Don't ever
That's
give up
really what
hope.
it's about.
You know what? Here's the deal.
The shine has gone off our star, let's be honest.
It's like this though. You know what I mean?
You guys can go down.
Right before
So true.
Right before on Facebook, literally, I went to the Cow's End
Sure.
right now just to do a little journaling, a little joke writing, and while I was getting in the car, it said, "Oh, you have a request from." I was just thinking about this on the way over here from Gallagher, the guy who used to smash the
Sure.
thing, and I added him, and I thought that I don't know who he is. He doesn't know me, but for some reason he asked to add me on Facebook, and I flashed back to the '80s when I'd be like in Blockbuster or what was it during the '80s, like just the old school
Tower Records.
yeah. like going my dad would be like, all right, you can get one video, and I'd be looking and I'd be like, comedy, and I would look at him like smashing the things, and I've never really even heard his stand-up, but he was like that oh my God, they're doing it for real. Like,
that
wow.
level.
Like he was in that, the VHS box, and now this guy's adding me on Facebook. So I just thought,
That's
what a
weird.
weird cyclical world. Like, what do you want from me? But I'm like, I guess I'm doing enough stuff where
It's part of it's part of your growth. It's part of
Totally.
it that you've got to accept it, because
It's
if you
kind
don't,
of
you're screwed.
It's almost a theme for the day. Another guy whose shine has gone off his
right.
star is looking to suck off the boob of the young millennial.
No, but you know what? I believe, because then it'll be my turn to do that, and I believe in
Being of service.
yeah, I believe in being of service. I watched a lot of The Godfather that came up, but I just believe like your forefathers are very important, man. I could be vicious, I could be an asshole, I could be a psychopath, but there is like the lineage thing. Like I have to. It's kind of an awkward thing. There's in the OR, the original room of the Comedy Store, there's a back row of seats. It's like the king's chairs. It's for the talent coordinator, maybe a few employees, and all the headliners. Now, if you're a headliner of the 80s, 90s, I guess you could sit there, but I don't know you. So it's just this awkward, so like an older guy will come in and be like, hey, I'm Tony Shimizi from the, I'm like, I'm kicking out hot girls. I'm kicking out 10s, Czechoslovakian models. Like, I want to sit here. I'm like, bitch, you can't sit there. Like we're old school there. It's like, you ain't get out. So it's like, I'm kind of like, I don't know who this guy is. He's like, I was here before you were in short pants. I'm like, is your name on that wall? And he's like, yes. I'm like, all right, you could, you know what I mean? So it'll be my
That's
turn
a
one
good
day in
test
30.
right there,
in 30 years, I'll be coming in there going, hey, like, nah, dude, I'm all for that
Is it
shit.
an advantage working at the comedy club as
Absolutely.
a comedian? It is.
Yeah. I watch 30 hours of I'm up against the wall watching 30 hours of comedy a week, and I get to do it like I did on Monday night. I was really grateful. I got a development spot, so I went up and did a development spot at an outside produced show in the main room. I'm actually going on a date from a girl I met from doing that spot. She's like, hey, you're funny. I just crossed her pass in the bathroom, just did like the little Facebook
got a whiff.
exchange.
You got a whip.
I mean?
Oh, you something. You with hot chicks. Here's Steve walking down the street.
Yeah.
Ladies.
It's a real thing.
Yeah, no
it's
shit.
real.
Yeah,
it's
sure.
real. Like two people have like
Whatever gets you through today.
Yeah, no, well, because I kept going up to Earl Skakel and two girls at the Comedy Store, two waitresses. They're like, whenever he's around, I could just smell him. I just feel so safe. And I'm like, what? Yeah,
so
dude, I'm like,
safe.
what? And I could smell him too. And it's like this glow. You could smell it coming through the door. It doesn't have a smell. It smells like wood.
But the name of it is Safe.
I can't tell you the name.
Yeah,
You're
but
gonna
I
have to
just
have
kind
Earl
of
on the
figured
He
podcast.
said
it out.
it's safe.
Right?
He said it's safe.
He said it was safe.
If it's not the name of it, it should be.
It should be,
No,
right.
it's dangerous. It's
Dangerous.
responsibility. You have to have response, because this is like.
You gotta have a course. You have to like go
That's
through like
crazy.
a 4-month course just to wear that shit.
Yeah, it's like getting your like airplane license. You know, and it's
Right,
like, okay,
right.
what are you gonna do with these women? Are you gonna put
You
this
start
on
off
every
with a
day?
Drac Noir,
Yeah.
and you work your way up to Safe. Yeah.
What the hell? You just lost me with a multi-syllable word.
Well,
Right
it's-
by Ralph
in-
Lauren, Polo.
Right.
Yeah.
You work your way up.
Let me ask you: have you ever walked off stage and gone, "Damn, I'm never coming back"?
I went to Fresno 2 weeks ago. Two very funny guys. Joe, I've been doing very well the last month. You know how it is, ebbs and flows. The last month, I've been rocking, man, and I'm very hard on myself. So I'll be like, I suck. I'm like, I've been doing very well the last month. I've been just on a kill streak, writing new jokes, and I came off of like bang, 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 just in Hollywood, toughest city in the world, boom, just doing very well. And I went up to Fresno to do some shows. My buddy Joe Dosh was headlining, and me and this very funny guy who would be great for the podcast is Feng Chao. He's from Beijing, China. He's a door guy there, and he's talking shit to all the headliners. He doesn't know who's famous. He doesn't care.
Right.
He's like telling them, you can't park there. Like Feng Chao, we think he's mafia. He's covered in tattoos. He has like a kind of like a bowl cut thing. He's covered in tattoos, and he's just ready to fight anybody. And he's like, I'm from Beijing. I
He's
don't
going to be in
care.
the movies. Someone's going to pick him up.
100.
Right.
He kills every time. He walks out on stage and he's like, fuck you guys. Like the whole play, he doesn't care, and he's a psychopath.
That's
so
awesome.
like, he and I have almost been in a couple fights there. Like he's got to be mafia. He has a made in China on his neck, and he's the greatest. He's one of my best friends.
That's
He told me he's like, in a past life, you and I were husband and wife. Like so.
You asked which was which?
No, I did. He goes, you know the answer
Safe.
to that.
It's the Safe.
Safe. It's
You
gotta
know
be
the
the
answer.
It's
calling.
got to be the Safe. Dudes are falling in love with this guy all the time, it sounds like.
Every comedian that you know.
Oh, so let me just finish it really
Sure,
quickly.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay, because there's the ending to the story is because all you heard me saying is I'm gonna kill him. I went to Fresno. Feng Chao went first, ripped the room in half. I went up for 20 minutes. They just stared at me. I was like, okay, it's because of his accent. You try to justify. The guy behind me who took me murdered the room. So now I'm in Fresno. I'm from Southern California. I don't travel much. I'm scared to go on the road, to be honest with you. I might be going with Brody Stevens like a little bit. I went a little bit
Friend
with
of
him.
mine?
Yeah. Oh, I love Brody. He's the first guy. He started taking me on the road, him and Sam Tripoli. So I've been going with Brody a little bit, and Brody's going to take me more. But I have this, I journal about it. I have this fear of getting out of my comfort zone. So here I am. I bombed in Fresno. We're staying at the promoter's house, and he's like, dude, he's just icing me out. Like, he wasn't a bad guy, but it was like, dude, I did so bad. I was like, the next day I was like, you need to drop me off at a Starbucks. I went to CVS, got a notebook, journaled my feelings, and I was about to hang myself. It was just so, it hurts so bad. It hurts. It still hurts me so bad.
But that's
so
motivating. That's motivating.
Bad.
Yeah.
motivating.
What doesn't kill you makes you.
I went back the next night and did very well. But
Yeah,
it's
good.
like,
Oh, good.
that was just, that's still in my mind. That's still in my mind.
You gotta let that go, brother.
I know.
Yeah.
Do you get nervous or right before you go up?
Every time. I
Every time,
pace
right?
around.
What's your pregame?
They go, Steve, you're on it. I go, don't tell me. I can't watch the room because I'm working there. So I'll even step out. I'm like, okay, because we get development spots. It's great because
What's a development spot?
a development spot is you call in on Mondays, and the talent coordinator will give you a spot for the week. Sometimes none, sometimes one in a week, sometimes two, sometimes one every other week. It just depends on how you're doing, kind of frankly, and what's going on, like how you're doing. And so you'll get a development spot. He'll say, okay, Wednesday the 8 o'clock show in the belly room or the main room, and you might be working that same room, so you just checked all the people in, then you jump up on stage, but you get a development spot. They kind of check you out. That's Mitzi Shore's kind of program. It's a college for stand up, so it's been the greatest thing for me because it's just like, I mean, I'm just going up in all the different rooms, just getting racked on. Most of the people there are tourists. It's very disorienting. It's crazy that I'm working the door, and you know who Argus Hamilton is? He's one of the old school guys. I guess he's probably 60. He started with Robin Williams and all those guys. He's still like one of the only guys left over that gets regular spots, and so he just tells me everything. He's like, Mitzi believed that because where we sit you at the Comedy Store, that's where you sit. There's no, I'm like, hey, you guys gotta sit there. Like, well, I want to sit over here. We can give you a VIP booth. You could pay a little extra for that. But as far as like, you just sit there. And he goes, and I go, Argus, it's so uncomfortable. And like, I tell the people, I don't like to sit in the front row. And he goes, Mitzi believed. He has an accent. He's like, I'll tell you where to sit and I'll tell you what's funny. He's like, get used to being in control in this room. So I just tell people, sit in front. And then when I go up on stage, I'm like, that's funny. Like, I don't know. So it's been the best thing for me ever.
Wow.
It's
It's a
been the
great
best
confidence builder.
It's 100%. The Comedy Store, like, that was what was so confusing because I had killed at the Comedy Store that whole week. And then I went out to Fresno and just ate my balls. I'm
It's like
what is
someone
going-
just told the exact same jokes 10 minutes ago.
Oh, it was
Right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
dude, I was. You could see the tears welling up in my eyes, and I'm an addict, dude. I used to do heroin, so I was like,
Really?
oh yeah.
How's a guy from Pasadena this good looking and with
Right?
the special sauce on his neck, the
How did all
perfume?
that
This is
come
almost
about?
almost 8 years
Sober?
later. Yeah, almost 8 years sober. Thank you very much. I mean, I got stories. I don't know what you guys want. I mean,
I want
I got
stories.
Oh,
Let's
dude,
hear it.
I mean, ask away. I got
Okay.
and
tell you
I'm
what.
an open book. There's nothing off
Did you
limits.
go into a deep hole?
Mm-hmm.
Why? What led up to all that business?
Oh man. So, okay.
And start from the beginning, man.
Oh shit. We're good. We're good.
No,
good.
it's I'm,
I got nervous when he was going deep and he started breathing. I was like, fuck.
Yeah. Okay, so growing up, I went through puberty, and I got tits like a girl. I'm writing a script about it
What?
right now. I got tits like a girl.
Are you setting us up for a joke?
Like
no,
a C cup?
No,
like
the nipples just bloomed like flowers during puberty.
Are we allowed to laugh at this, or are we?
No,
gonna do
yeah,
some-
all,
Okay.
all good. You can laugh at this.
I feel terrible.
No. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to not laugh, and you're a psychopath.
I mean,
So no. This is. I'm sharing it on a comedy podcast.
Right.
This is
Okay.
I don't want to steer your
What's it
listeners
called?
away. This is
this called something?
gynecomastia. This story
Okay,
is going to
I've heard
be
of this.
we're going on a dark ride. We
Okay.
are.
Bring us.
Let's do it.
Okay. So I'm just saying this is not that we are strapped in and we're going.
Get prepared,
down
North Carolina.
To fucking
I like
hell.
this
Here
guy.
we go.
I like this guy. Go ahead.
Okay.
Let's do it. I'm
All right.
ready.
I just want to. I don't want to like. We're going deep. We're going to Tijuana, guys. Yeah. We're going to Tijuana, and
I want to see the donkey show.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, there's.
All right, let's get started, guys.
All
Let's not get crazy.
No. What? Woo. Okay. So. Yeah. Damn it. Yeah. There we go. I feel safer already. Yeah. I don't feel like I'm jacking
No
off
more
on a-
distractions. He's so close to busting out this story.
No, it's okay. It's okay. No. Okay. So I go through puberty and like boom, I get tits.
Like what age?
Like 12, 13.
Oh my God.
so like my breasts are like kind of sore, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I look down one day, and it just grew overnight. I got tits.
Wow.
I've since had the surgery. So I got tits, and I'm like, oh man, what is going on? And then like people start making fun of me at the beach, and I'm like, oh my, like I just felt my whole world change. I'm like, oh my God. It's called the gynecomastia. So then that summer, I go into an all boys competitive sports Catholic high school called St. Francis in La Cañada, and it's a football school, and it's a lot of fighting, steroid, like just it's like it's like just testosterone, you know. It's very just like, yo, what's up?
Now wait, are you making your parents aware, like, Mom, what's going on here?
I had good parents, but my therapist, who's actually right off Shell Street, that's the whole reason I was living in Venice. I have a really good therapist. He's over here in Venice, and the first session, well, I didn't get into the tits till the third session. He just closed his eyes, and he's like, your parents were asleep, and then just blew out. He was like, whew. And I was like, yeah. He's like, if you're like, I don't have kids yet, but if like my kid has like weird ears, like I had corrective surgery. This is the end of the story. It's gonna get good, but I'm just kind of setting you up for like just placing things a little here and there.
Okay, but it doesn't have to be linear.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be linear. That's what I'm learning. It doesn't have to be linear.
No.
Yeah, it doesn't. This is how it's organically coming out. But if I have a kid and they have a weird nose or weird, it's instant surgery. It's gonna be, and it was the best thing ever for me. Not like crazy, going crazy,
Right,
but if
just
something's
make 'em-
abnormal, it's changed my life. It changed my life. So if you're listening, and you have a fucking weird nose that you've always hated, guess what? You could save up for summer even at a menial job, and they finance, and you can get it fixed, and it will make you happier. It did that to me. It was the best thing ever.
What year?
Here
How
come
old
the
were you
freaking
when you had your
tears.
surgery?
I swear to God.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm
I've
starting
told
to tear
this
up.
on stage 4 times, and you've seen my comedy. So here I get more passionate. I like podcasts because like I'm opening up my heart. I'm with the bros. We're in the garage. Like this is like dudes just talking after like 4 or 5 beers. I'm finally having the conversations that I wanted to have my whole life, like now, just like with other dudes, But, like on stage, I'm like ready to fight. I'm over caffeinated. I'm like rock and roll. So I'll tell the story a little more funny. I'll be like, so I had tits, but, dude. 130 people are gonna laugh at
Right.
Yeah, I got that chill. I'm getting chills right now.
Yeah.
I mean, the cologne's
Here we
working.
go.
That's the safe.
Yeah.
All right, no, keep talking.
So no. Well, I told it on stage 4 times, and every time a girl, it's usually a girl, will be like, "Hey, can I get your number?" I'm like, "Oh, okay, I'm gonna get laid," and they'll call me and they'll be like, "Hey, I've always hated my nose. Can I?" So like this story does help people. So I'm an open book. Steve Randolph. Find me on Facebook. If you have a weird penis, if you have weird toes, call me. I'll talk to anybody. I love it.
I have one of those 2 things. I'm just gonna say it.
A weird penis?
One of those 2 things.
Okay, fair enough. Wait, dude, you don't
I
have
have
a
extremely weird toes.
Do you?
Extremely weird toes.
Yeah.
Do not. Shut up.
Go to podiatrist. They're always in Long Beach. I don't know why Long Beach is podiatrist.
All right, so wait a minute. You wake up 12 with boobs.
And I go, and I'll never. If there's one person I'm angry at, it's not the people that talk shit to me, because I would too. It's not my parents for not noticing. It's right when you go to freshman football. I don't know if you guys played sports. You got to get your physical going into high school.
I wrestled 6 years.
Oh yeah, you wrestled.
Yeah.
That's I did jiu-jitsu. You don't mess with wrestlers. That's hardcore. So I went in, and the messed up thing, I always wanted to wrestle, but I wouldn't allow myself because of that suit. Because you see my tits. It really, it stopped me from going to the beach. You have no idea the goddamn horror. So.
Are you relating to this at all, Andy?
No.
Okay.
I have a perfect body.
God. Oh my God. Something. Fight through the sophomoric-ness here, dude.
No, he's a wrestler. I don't want to know. I have no
No,
problem.
it's
My
all
dad
good.
told me never mess with the wrestlers, so no. I don't know where I was. So
You were at the physical.
so then I had the balls. This was the first and last time I had the guts to tell someone about it. She goes, cough. It was this older, like lesbian, like doctor lady who was just kind of gruff. You'd cast her in a movie of just like, yeah, next, And I was like, oh, hey. She's like, cough. All right, your heart's a little off, but And then I go, hey, I look around. I'm like, I gotta, hey, can I show you something? She's like, what? It was a really good doctor. My dad had great insurance, and shit, man, it just wasn't. Maybe I wouldn't have all these cool stories. I wouldn't have people seem to like this stuff. So I took off my shirt, and she just coldly stared at a 13-year-old boy who was going in for football that had tits to an all-Catholic school, and she just goes, yeah? And I go, can I do anything about these? She goes, nope, and then just put my shirt down.
Nice.
And I just walked out to the waiting room. My mom's like, I had a good mom. She's like, oh, okay, we going? I'm like, and then I just felt the doors of like hell clang. I was like, this is gonna be a rough ride, dude. You know?
All right. Okay, so that's 13.
So then I go into freshman football, and people start, popping off about him. And I'm not a tough guy by any means, but I was always funny, but I got really vicious with my mouth and really vicious with fighting, so I could tell if your eyes were going down there. I would either, guy your size, I'm like, dude, I'm not gonna fight this guy's a pretty big guy unless you really were going after me. So I would just start cutting you down. It's great for comedy. I can roast anybody. I don't do roasting comedy. I'm more storyteller. Like, that's more fun for me. But so I went into high school, and it was just I never felt man enough. I mean, it was just a goddamn nightmare.
But was it in circulation publicly?
It started to be, but I would squash it, man. You get good at like hiding things, like hiding, like, oh, I'm not going to the beach. It was funny is I love the beach, man. So going to the beach day, I'm like, beach day. Beach days for losers, dude. So I would have to. I was a very good salesman, so people would be like, "Yeah, Steve's right." I'm
Hell
like,
with the beach.
Yeah, I'm like convincing guys that the beach isn't cool. Yeah, I'm like, "Oh, you going to the beach? Cool, man. I'm going to the mall where the air condition is." And I'm like, dude, I'm like dying inside because like only the summer before, I grew up going to Huntington Beach. My mom would take us 3 times a year. I mean, 3 times a week. We were a Huntington Beach family. We go to Newport. We go to all the And I'm like, the beach, and then like I would convince like 2 or 3 suckers. They're like, Steve's right. Like, let's go to the Sherman Oaks Galleria. I'm like, where do you think the babes are? At the beach? What is this, the 70s? Like, I'm just like, oh my God, dude.
That's so cool.
I have like all these friends that were like awesome at football. Well, after the first shirts and skin season, I was like, dude, football's out, so I'm not playing football the second year. So then I'm convincing these guys who had like pro potential. I'm like, oh, you're doing football? They're like, well, geez, Steve, I benched 500 and I'm knocking heads. I'm like, yeah, bro, you're more of an artist. Come hang out with me. And like, let's
go try out for the musical.
No, totally. Like I did. I took like 4 or 5 people that had pro potential away from football. And like, because I was a very like kind of like charismatic guy, so I'm like, that's all I had to use. I'm like, oh, you guys are playing football? Like, come with me to the mall, or like wherever I was pitching at the time. And people were like, yeah, Steve's right, man. I'm like, oh, we get yelled at all year long. You're gonna have your whole summers getting yelled at by some asshole, and then I would just secretly watch. Like it was a night. Well, then I got so buff. I was like 150 pounds. I'm 5'8", 140 pounds freshman year. I thought, man, I could. Literally, I was like, I could lift my way out of this with weights, right? I'm just gonna pack on muscle, and that's the heartbeaking thing about it. That's how you know if you have a gynecomastia. Every guy's got a little tits sometimes, if you're out of shape. But that's the difference between a gynecomastia, because now however you get in shape, however well you get in shape, that doesn't change. So you'll just like look like a Ferrari with 2 acorns on it. It just that part doesn't change. So I was like. We had a teacher. Is it mostly the
nipple?
Yeah, it's mostly the nipple. Yeah, I had a teacher. You can go online and see some great videos. But I'm an expert at this shit now. But I had a teacher who's a bodybuilder, and I was like, and he was an ex-bodybuilder from like the 70s, 80s. And I was like, what do you do? He's like, dude, you could take, because I'm an alcoholic too, who's sober. So I'm like an obsessive person. So he was like, your body. He's like, here, I'll give you this information. You work out 5 days a week, and he was like, just know that muscle is built from protein and water. Drink a gallon of water a day, and he was like, your muscles can absorb 45 grams of protein every 45 minutes. Take that what you will. And I was just like, this is my way out. So I like ate 8 meals a day, lifted, just smoke weed and just lift for 3 hours. I started smoking pot. That made me feel a little better. Started drinking, and I just lifted weights. So I came back sophomore year. I think I was like 210 pounds of muscle. Everybody thought I was on roids. I wasn't, but I was just upset. I was like, this is the way out of this.
But was it working?
So I got huge. It doesn't look good on shorter guys, but I look like, just the stumpy, just like, you don't fuck with this guy.
Like the Jersey guys you talk about.
100%. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. And I came back and everybody's like, damn, play football. I was like, nah, I'm not playing football. So I'd always wear cutoff sleeve shirts, but and the tits, yeah, exactly. Go to the Galleria. Hot dog on a stick, watch the babes, So I came back and I got super buff and that didn't work, and then I was just like, oh shit, man. And so then I just when I would drink alcohol, the tits went away. So I had a flat chest, mentally. Mentally. I had a flat chest like everybody else. And so I was like, I am going to stay drunk as much as possible. And when I stayed drunk, I mean, my posture was better. I was more confident. And so thus began freshman year of just partying. And so then I would just patiently wait for Friday and Saturday night. And that was the only two days a week when I had freedom in my life. So I was in jail with tits at an all-boys school for most of the time. And then on Friday and Saturday night, I could drink my 8-9 beers or 5 beers, smoke some weed, and then talk to girls and not have tits. And so it was beautiful. And so like people, that's the only reason I drank. It felt wonderful. I felt free, And so I would go to these parties. But then as you guys all know, like then it starts to take a weird turn. So I went to I'm writing a script about my high school experience right now. That's right. I was writing at I was journaling, writing jokes, and writing a script at the Cow's End, and everybody a lot of rich kids, and everybody was on drugs, and so I had guys doing heroin and crack freshman year, and I was a square at this school at this time. I was a square for not knowing what crack was when I was 13, going into the summer.
Oh my God!
I remember my buddy was I don't know whatever happened to this guy, but we were over his house at Eagle Rock, and they were all smoking. And I didn't know it was crack. I thought it was weed around a baby monitor. And they were like, they passed it to me, and they're like, dude, I forgot what they called it, Brillo pad, because you smoke it on Brillo. You want Brillo? I'm like, what's Brillo? And everybody laughed, like, oh, look at this guy doesn't know what Brillo pad is. I was like, no, I don't.
I'm 13.
And I, for some reason, didn't take a hit because that would have changed. I later got into the hard stuff, but I didn't know what it was, and they just kind of laughed and passed it over me. And then the baby monitor started crying, and the woman who was smoking crack went up to get her baby.
Oh,
she was
Jesus
17.
Criminy.
Yeah, and these are all Catholic school kids, and so I'm like, oh my God, like I just.
You just learned the theme to Spider-Man.
Oh, is that what?
And now you're smoking crack.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Well, no, now I'm just in with these guys, and I'm terrified, and I'm like not feeling good enough, and I'm like, and so the guy, so we go upstairs at this party, and the guy was like, smoke this, and I smoked PCP, and we both just took turns whacking a tree down with a baseball bat, and the bat came back and split. I haven't thought about this in a long time. Split my lip in half, and I'm like bleeding everywhere. And I don't feel it. I'm just laughing. Okay. Yeah. And I was like just acting crazy the whole day. And then once I kind of started doing that, then it was just on and cracking.
And you made it out of high school?
In high school. That was
No, I'm saying you started in high school, but you made it all the way through?
I got sober in 2008. Yeah, I made it all the way through. I ended up getting asked to leave St. Francis High School, and then I went to Pasadena High School. So this was like mid 90s. It was a pretty rough school. It was predominantly black. I always wondered why the black kids would. Everybody got along at St. Francis, but I would always wonder why all the black kids would eat lunch together underneath this one tree. I'm like, dude, what's the fuck? What do they think they're better than us, or what's the deal? As soon as I went into Pasadena High School, it was all black, and I was like, where are the white kids? And we
by the tree.
By the tree, yeah. Ours was in the back of the school. Where all the kids would like smoke weed and smoke pot. And there'd be some black dudes there, but it was like, where are the white skater kids? I didn't realize like it's just kind of an instinct, So like we're there during this is like 96, so 4 years after the LA riots, and it's like it's a pretty rough school. And so I wasn't a tough guy, but I had these breasts. I had to prove myself, man. And so I was always like, I'm down. I'm going to this crazy school now. And so I had a great time at Pasadena High School. I was just like, I had already graduated per Catholic school in 95.
By this time, had you learned to sort of hide? It was the whole thing.
It was constant hiding.
Right.
It was constant.
Were your parents in on this now?
No. They just like, what's going on with Steven? He's on drugs. So I'm not. So that's the thing. I used to blame my addiction on my tits, but not everybody with gynecomastia ends up being a heroin addict. So that was my choice. So it was like, at first I was like, this is what it was. Yeah, that definitely was a log on the fire, but my solution was heroin. Not everybody that has gynecomastia. Some people just deal with it, go to, address it. I ran from it, but I wore sweatshirts. I could tell that I had the special shirts with the special pockets, like that shirt that you're wearing right there has an emblem on it. That would help. Like it just became this obsessive, neurotic game.
And then what about being with girls? Ever?
I would keep my shirt on a lot. I would like.
When did you lose your virginity?
Do it at night. 16.
And you remember the whole thing?
Yeah.
Did you take your shirt off?
I don't think so.
No.
Fuck.
But with girls saying something, like, were you intimate with girls, and would they ever notice?
Okay, you're getting the most. This is me with 8 years sober,
right?
In therapy, and I'm on my best behavior because I got. You guys are on a radio station. I'm trying to be a good guy now because you guys are trying to go into a radio station. I got shit.
We don't care, man.
I do. You guys are doing well, and they're like, hey, the guy just. So I'm like, this is me on. This is the best.
Don't worry about it.
I'm praying every day. I'm trying to bring love, but like, what I did was I went so fucking insane that the fact that Steven has sex with his shirt on.
It's
like
not
that,
even anything,
This kid
right.
just pissed on a building, threw a rock through. You know what I mean?
There was
So
so
like.
much commotion. I got you. I got you.
Yeah, I created that. I created a world of illusion and psychotic behavior, so no one would just go, "Hey, you," and then every once in a while you would get some fucker that'd be like, "Dude, you have tits, dude." Oh my god, I would have to get that guy out of the group somehow.
Oh man, wow.
So
I feel so fucking bad right now.
no, dude, there's
Andy,
there's
are you okay?
Is this just bumming out the podcast?
Not at all. No, not at all. Not at all. Because he's awkward with an awkward situation. I'm totally fine with it.
No, because I don't want. I want you guys to have a great
No,
podcast.
no.
And the reason why maybe I dropped the funny there for a little bit, I can relate because every school year in high school when we did our photos, our class photos,
Yeah.
I would get the photos and not even look at my own photo and take it out of the thing without even looking at it and tear it up.
Why? Self-hatred? Acne? Oh my
Yes.
god.
Yeah. I was blown away how ugly I thought I was
Oh,
all
my-
through high school. And the only thing I had was like, if I ain't got the looks,
You got the mouth.
I got the personality.
Yeah.
So I was
You're a big
everywhere.
Irish sports guy,
Yeah, I
kind of
was a
like
sports
overpowered
guy.
with that.
And even when I wasn't playing sports, I was in a musical. Even if I wasn't in a musical, I was I was the man.
You were the
Yeah.
guy. The guy.
I was the guy. I was on every prom court,
Yeah,
homecoming
yeah.
thing.
But you would rip up your. Isn't that powerful? I mean, we just say that in a sentence, like, but that's. Dude, if we were in therapy,
That's
they'd be
heavy
like,
shit.
"Whoa,
Yeah,
let's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
okay, so you went and like that's that's big time, man.
because I didn't want anyone to see the photo.
100%.
And the only time I didn't do it was the senior year where they do the
Yeah,
touch-up.
everybody looks like wax figures. You're like, oh, beautiful.
I was waiting for my senior year to finally get a good photo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
So
god.
that's why I'm related to you. man.
No, yeah, you got teary-eyed. No, I saw that.
Hey, you guys, Chunky B. 1 degree of Chunky B in the garage of love, and you know if you want to get your quack on, you go to Venice Duck. And I'm not even kidding. This is a good beer. Tell your friends. Don't be afraid to get your quack on. Dude, this is actually really good beer.
It's fucking great beer.
You're so lucky.
Oh shit, I'm still recording.
Hey, you guys, music provided by Play Up Music. That's playupmusic.com.
You were tuned in to 1 Degree with Chunky B. This is Stephen Randolph.
Black is the night that holds you down. Black is the night that holds you down.
I'll tell the crazy stories in a second because then it starts ramping up. So then it starts ramping up. But I get sober. I get sober, and my biggest fear, I would do heroin a lot. And
When was the first time you did heroin?
2006. I was also doing real estate. But let me just share with you.
Yeah.
So there's this. As you guys do comedy, you guys do stand up, like you don't just jump into it. So you at least I did. You kind of on the periphery. Like I could tell working at the comedy store, I'm pretty nice to people that are like, I'm like, you comic? They're like, no. And it's like, well, you're not a civilian because you're just foaming at the stage, or so everybody does that little dance of like, fuck, I want to go. And so I did that. And there was a guy that was a dick to me, and he was on a TV show. I don't think he ever ended up becoming anything. This is in 2008, but he was on a couple Comedy Central shows. He had one based around him, and I said something, and he like brushed me off. That's the word. Like he's like, yeah, whatever, putz. And I'm like, fuck you. Like I'll kick your fucking ass. Oh, there's old Steven. So I go to watch a show, and he's on the show at UCB Theater in it's huge.
Yeah.
That's other than the Comedy Store. There's a couple key places. This guy's, I'm jealous of this guy. This guy just told me to go fuck myself basically, and this guy's on stage, and I look, and I'm like, he's got tits. Once you do real estate, I used to do real estate. I always look at signs. If you have a gynecomastia, I can just look at people's chests, and I'm like, he's got what I have, and he's up there doing that. And so I was terrified. I would drive past the Comedy Store when I got to host Potluck for the first time. Got my name on the marquee. It was so emotional. Louis C.K. came right after the mic stopped. He came on. It was a big night. But I had passed by that marquee and just been like, I could never be on that marquee. I could never do stand-up. I have tits. And my biggest fear was that someone was going to be like, you have fucking tits. Like, whatever you're saying, whatever story you build. Well, this guy, so I'm sitting in the back. And it's now 2008. I'd done stand-up a few times. I'm inching in new sobriety, inching in to do stand-up. And I'm like, fuck this guy, this piece of shit. He's up there doing his little, he's just a bullshit act anyways, but the kind that Hollywood loves. And so, you know, he's doing his thing, and I'm like, he's got tits, and he doesn't care. He heckled some guy, some like hipster guy, some little tall, lanky guy, looked like Abraham Lincoln with a little ironic mustache, and he goes, he said something really funny, and he said to the guy, this was my nightmare. Just so weird how the universe presented it to me with the guy I hated, because I actually... And the guy just sat there confidently crossing his legs, you know, just kind of the kind of guy that's into cheese. And the guy on stage goes, the guy I hated goes, in front of, you know, 150, 200 people at a sold-out UCB primetime spot. He goes, what do you have to say, Mr. Ironic Guy? And he goes, oh, I have something to say. The whole place is fucking, because the guy said it with confidence. And the guy goes, what do you have? I'm on TV. And then he was like that guy. He's like, I'm on TV. And he goes, you have tits. And the whole place went crazy.
Oh my God.
And I was like, oh,
that's your nightmare.
That was why I didn't do stand-up. And so the guy just was hit, you know, and he comes back and says something that was funny. He's a professional. He said something that was very funny. Kind of, you know, didn't go to that level 10 laugh. And he goes, what do you have to say now? And the guy goes, same thing. You have tits. What? I get chills. Look, I'm getting chills. So I'm just sitting there, like 6 months sober, going there because I wanna, like, I'm like, okay, like, and I had the surgery, so like we'll get to that. But I'm telling it, and so I'm going, oh my fucking God, dude. So the guy is just bright red. His teammates, because it's an improv night, you know, but he was doing his monologue. They have to go, hey, Sammy, or whatever the guy's name was, like, we have to get on with the show. And the guy goes, no, you know, this is not over. And so they do their first. It was like a you know, a herald or whatever. They do their first thing, and then in the intermission, kind of between the two teams, the guy who's hosting the show, who's, you know, on two television shows, you know, guy I'm foaming at the bit, jealous of. You know, here's this guy up doing 2 Comedy Central shows. He's kind of cocky at UCB. He's probably getting laid. He goes up to the guy again, and he says something again. Gets a laugh. The guy couldn't let it go. And the guy just sat there like an assassin in the seats. The guy you would cast in the movie to do this.
With the ironic mustache.
Yeah, we all know that rules of 3, and he just goes, but you have tits. Room shakes, dude. And his friends audibly on stage said, stop doing this to yourself. I've never seen someone lost control of the whole night, and I was just going, oh my God. Like, I was glad that happened to that guy, but like, not really. And I've always wanted to write him a letter and be like, dude, $5,000, you can get him sucked out with a tube and never look back, you know. But like, it was like gnarly, dude. So I got to see that, and so that was an interesting thing. That same night, I saw my heroin dealer in line on Franklin getting a pizza at the restaurant. I don't know if it was Birds at the restaurant before. And I said, hey, what's up? And I had 6 months. And he goes, because I was like in my pajamas going to it gets real dark real fast here. And I see him, and I'm like, I have this look, and I'm like, I almost have to take a shit, you know? It's like running into an ex, dude. This guy I spent more time with than any girlfriend. He had more control over me than any girlfriend. So I was like, oh man. And then they're like, letting in for the line, and I was like, hey, you know, take care, you know, good to see you, you know. And I walked into the show, and it was very very cool. And then when I started at the Comedy Store, you know, I started a year and a half ago, so I would have about 6.5 years sober. Then that was a year and a half ago, and I saw him at Zanku Chicken on Fairfax. I'm like, what's up, dude? And he's like, you look great, man. He wasn't a bad guy. This guy was a merchant.
He was making money.
He was a merchant. He's been doing it for 20 years. Sells to all the rock stars. This guy, I said, man, you have to write a book. He goes, for $1 million, I'll write a book. He would take everybody down. I mean, the stories I have, like, I kind of palled around with this guy. I would just blow your mind. But I see him at Zanku Chicken, kind of heavier set Mexican guy. Just had it dialed in. He will never be stopped. His trunk had $100,000 worth of drugs in it at all times.
Wow.
But he was just so confident, and he would just, but he was like, good job. I mean, he wasn't a bad person. He was just like, good job, man. I was like, I have 6.5 years, man. And he's like, dude, you're working he saw my Comedy Store shirt. He goes, you're working at the Comedy Store. And I go, yeah. And he goes, you always get coked out and tell me that you were a comedian. And I was like, and I wasn't doing I can get emotional thinking about that. But he was like, good job, bro. Like, it was like my old heroin dealer was like, yeah. He was like, there you are. And I saw him at the Comedy Store. He came in with a date, and I was, dude, it's been lifted. The obsession's been lifted.
Such a success story.
Did you ever run into your old skin doctor?
No, doctor.
I mean, that's a legitimate question, right?
Wow.
You're such a
Just sort of
dick.
pass each other and like headed into the show now.
Yeah. And he has his first oxy wipe like in his back pocket, and he just points at it.
Remember this?
Yeah. He gave me this. It's my lucky oxy wipe. I keep this in my. And you guys, and a little twinkling happens, like a movie magic, just like a little. Little back to the a little Back to the Future magic, like right before they're
Tell
about
them
to
the
try.
fisherman story. This is a good one.
When I was boozing, this happened about a year ago. And then it's the middle of the afternoon, late in the afternoon. I'm at my pub, my afternoon pub.
The Cozy Inn.
The Cozy Inn on
Culver City.
Yeah, in Culver City.
Okay.
So it's all the day drunks are there.
Yeah.
And it's foaming up a little bit. It's getting groovy, and these this one couple hotties come walking in, and we go over to the jukebox, and the girl comes over, and I'm playing some music, and the sun is coming through the front door, so I am just sunlit.
What time is this at?
This is like maybe 4.
Okay.
And the shaft of light is coming through the front door, and she's looking impressed. Oh, let's play this. And she looks up and she goes, "Whoa, you must be a fisherman." I go, "No, not really." Why? She goes, "Your face is banged up. You look like a fisherman."
Oh my God.
And I'm like, "This is the best it's looked in a long time."
Oh my God.
That's so
That
brutal, dude.
is why I did heroin, from 3 or 4 comments like that. And my mom's like, "Why?" I'm like, "Because this planet is too hardcore, dude."
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So that's
That's brutal.
but it's like I'm over it. It is I got a face like a foot. Boom, bam, I'm going.
You make up for it.
I make up with my nice,
And your
with my nice tits.
and your beautiful blue eyes and your gorgeous tits and your
What made you get to this the surgery?
Dude,
yeah,
that-
when did you realize, like, wait a minute, I can just take care of this if I save some money?
So I go into my third rehab.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how much time we have.
Keep going,
And
buddy.
how dark did you get on heroin,
Oh,
by the
dude,
way?
everybody gets dark.
Is that when you were with Larry Flint?
I started doing OxyContin at that time, and that was during the Jackass boom, because that magazine.
And Spike Jones and
Yeah, exactly. Like all those guys used to write for Big Brother. Jeff Tremaine, who's the producer, he was the graphic designer at Big Brother. And I was around that whole scene, and there's a lot of drugs around there, and I started doing the opiates, and I mean, talk about like all my tits went away, but the alcohol was good. But you had to drink. People always go, "Why'd you do heroin?" It's like, well, it was like taking a Learjet to where I wanted to go, and alcohol was like taking a fucking Greyhound. You'd have to drink 2 gallons of liquid to make it go away, or you could just go boop, and it all.
Now, were you cognizant of what you were doing?
Yeah.
And why you were doing it, do you think? Or
the-
you were just doing it to mask the pain?
I was doing it to fill that
But
pit in my stomach, that hole in my heart.
But you knew why that hole was there.
I didn't know it was alcoholism. I didn't know it had a name. And I didn't know the symptoms of alcoholism are restless, irritable, and discontent. And I had felt that since puberty. And it wasn't just because of the boobs. I remember when I had that shift of like being a happy kid to like, and I remember my family was decorating a Christmas tree when I was like 11, 12 years old. And, I was into Christmas. I was in the holidays. I was, I was a kid, and I remember I thought about this the other day. I hadn't thought about this in a while. I remember sitting on the couch. And my mom's like, "Hey, we're decorating the tree." And they were just 7,000 miles away from me. And I was like, "I don't want to decorate the tree." And they're like, "Come decorate the tree." And I remember they were so far away. And like, that was kind of, I believe that was kind of when the alcoholism really, even, because beer, weed, pills, drugs, that's just the solution for the alcoholism. The alcoholism's in you. It's just this voracious hole. You don't feel good enough, and it's just this restless, irritable discontent. I'm not good enough.
It's also baffling and cunning.
Yeah, cunning, baffling, powerful. Yeah. And so the solution. So I hadn't, I was smoking a little bit of cigarettes. I would steal cigarettes off the ground and smoke them. I would inhale, because a couple kids in my class were wrapping a sock around spray deodorant and inhaling it. So I was doing that like at 11 or 12. I just started doing that. But like, I don't remember why. Wait, why did we talk about this?
I think we were leading up to
surgery.
Yeah, but I wanted to know
What-
if,
yeah,
you
what was
were,
the-
if you were, with Larry, working with Larry Flint while you were starting to head down that hole, because that's a whole nother world too, like the porno world. You know what I mean?
I got my wisdom teeth pulled out, and I really liked the way I felt with the pills afterwards. I didn't make, no one ever gets in a heroin. You don't pursue it. It's just like, oh, this feels great. Like I was smoking weed every day, drinking every day, doing a little bit of coke at night. I was 19, and I went through a meth phase. There's so many different phases of my life. I got into some real weird shit with meth, but that lasted for like a summer. But I would always kind of throttle back and just drink about 6 beers, smoke a little weed, and just kind of like that was my like working man's. Like I could hold down a job at Trader Joe's. I was actually a really good worker.
You were in the zone.
Yeah, even on heroin, I sold real estate. I was closing deals. I love working. I don't know what else to say about that. Like I would shoot up heroin and be like, let's work an 18-hour day. I like working. It didn't affect my desire to like. I love working. I love coming and doing a podcast. I'm writing. I'm like, I like creating stuff, but I like working. I don't know. That's the ultimate.
That's a good gene to have.
Yeah, it's a good,
because if you're a drug addict and don't like to work, then that could even get then you're
dead.
dead.
Then you're dead. Then you're dead. I always I'm down to pull my weight, but so I'm like, this feels fantastic, and my friend's like, this is Vicodin, and I was like, kind of told me like what it was, and I'm like, oh man. So I take a couple Vicodin just as prescribed. I'd take my dose for my teeth and smoke a joint. I'm like, this is what I want to feel for the rest of my life. It just felt like falling in love with the right person, and all of a sudden you're in a house like this, and you have a family. It's like oh, everything, but then when you don't have it, when it goes away, it's like, oh shit, man, I want that again. And so I used mine, got my refill. I was like, Mom, it still hurts. Got my refill, and then my brother had his pulled, and my sister had their pulled. So that was a tube, and then a refill, tube, and then a refill. And I was telling my friend, my friend Casey, who was like keen on it. He and I started doing heroin together late, about a couple years later. But he was like, dude, he's like, you have more of that, and like he was the one to like get it in my not bad. I wanted it, but he was like, dude, this is Vicodin. Like this is something, like this is a deal. Like this is. I'm like, oh, like. To me, medicine was just medicine before that. I never thought about it like that. I was like, medicine. What do I want with medicine? I want beer, But I was like, oh. So then that happened, and I felt weird without it. So I did it for like a month, and then I didn't know what withdrawal is, so I didn't really know. I was like, oh, I feel like weird. I want that stuff again. Then I just forgot about it. So this is like 99, 2000. Start working for Big Brother magazine, the Jackass dudes, all that stuff starting to happen. And this guy that took Jeff Tremaine's place. So Jeff left to do Jackass. Fucking thing exploded, and then I won't want to say his name, but he this guy took over, and he was like, hey, I know a doctor, and I was like, yes. This was probably like a year or two later. I'd forgotten about it. I'm just partying, like going, oh, that was weird. It was like a hot chick just passing through your life. Like, oh, I forgot about her. Right. Forgot about the Viking. And he's like, I'm like, so? He's like, yeah, I know a doctor, dude, that'll prescribe it. I'm like, yeah, what do I want, bro? Fucking pain med, or like antidepressants. Like my brain I still didn't think of it like that, And he was like, you don't like any pills? And I was like,
oh, wait a second.
I was like Vicodin? He's like, duh, and Oxycontin. I was like, what's Oxycontin? He's like, it's like 20 Vicodin, so you don't have to be sitting there with 20 Vicodin. And I was like, and he could just get that? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And so then my friend Casey was also working at this magazine. We were both interns. So now I'm interning at Larry Flint Publications. It's a porno building going off. Jackass is going off. They're still attached to the magazine. It was the most fun I've ever had in my life. Right there on Wilshire and La Cienega, just going crazy, man. And so we started getting a bunch of pills, and I'm like, I love this shit. So I'm starting to write articles. Like all of a sudden I take my first Oxycontin, and he's like, dude, you got to chew it up. And that becomes like 5. That's how people die, because they don't know. But luckily I was taking enough Vicodin before where I didn't just, that's how kids, people die off Oxycontin, because someone will go, look what I got, my dad's pills. Now all of a sudden you chew one up. If you chew an 80 milligram up, that's like taking 16 of the big That's like taking 16 of the half Vicodins, the 500s. So some kid at a high school party who just had 8 beers, like, hey, does anybody want to chew up? I think you just chew up one of these. They just took 16 Vicodin for the first time. That's why they died. So I was already taking 10, 15, 20 Vicodin. I got it up pretty fast. I was already partying. I had a habit. So when I took it, it was like, oh, cool. This was a whole night. Yeah, I was like, because they were good in theory, the Oxycontin. They're time release. So you give them to an old person or anybody who just, you take it and you'll have your doses throughout the day. Well, you snort it up, chew it up, snort it up. We started chewing them and snorting them. So I'm at this magazine. I write my first article. They're like, hey, you know, you're a pretty funny guy. Why don't you? I got fired from I went to Starbucks to go work at a Starbucks. So I was working at this magazine, interning, and then I was like, I want to work at Starbucks. After the first day, I had a panic attack, and I was like, yo, dude, no way, this isn't for me. And I didn't even walk. I didn't even turn around. Like, this guy was like, Steve, this really nice guy. It was like training me. I was bullshitting about, I do love coffee, but I was like, oh, the beans are from Nicaragua. Yeah, I could see spending the rest of my life here. You know, I'm all fucked up. And then I just I snapped at and he's like, so you're on the 4 o'clock in the morning shift, you know, every day. I'm like, no way, dude. So I just walked. This is back when there was landlines. I was living at my mom's house, and the guy called me 3 times, like, hey, this is John at Starbucks. You're not in trouble. Just come back. And I'm like, dude, my mom's like listening to it. The whole family is blaring through the second story. And then the third one, he's like, Steve, if you don't call me back, you're going to have to be fired. I'm like, bro, I walked out mid-shift, you know? So I'm telling all these guys that. They're like, you just got your first article. So you write about this. So I wrote about leaving Starbucks, and they took a picture of me outside of Starbucks. And then so all of a sudden I got paid, you know, a pretty decent amount. This is a pretty good, I forgot how many words, you know, much money a word. But I was like, I just took a bunch of Vicodin and just read. I'm like, well, I don't really know how to write. And they're like, dude, just recount what you told us. So I was like, but they're like, this is great. So then it goes into publication. So now I'm interning there, but I'm also writing articles. Now I'm taking these Vicodin. I'm writing these articles. Whatever I'm thinking in my head, there's no fear. So I'm just like, they're like, oh, what happened at a party? I'm like, oh, well, I'll tell you. It was the best writing I ever did. Because I just had no, that was true art, because I was just like, they're just tell us the funny story. I'm typing it out. They have a photographer come take a bunch of cool pictures. I'm getting paid not a wad, but I'm getting paid now for these articles. And I got this Oxy hookup. So it just got, it got dark. So we're partying. I'm now mixing. Now, like, well, dude, go do coke with the Oxy. So that's how, like, Belushi, all those guys died. You know,
Take the edge off.
Take the edge off. So you're taking up and down. Your heart doesn't know what to do. So now I'm chopping an 80 into a line. I'm putting a bunch of coke into a line. So now I've got this, you know, this $100 line of miscellaneous stuff, and I'm just snorting that and telling everybody all my secrets. And you know, the funny thing is the tits never came out. As fucked up as I was,
really?
that was so buried in there that I never,
there was no combination to get into that safe, huh?
Wow. That's how deep it was. I'd be like, day 5, the guys were like, yeah, I did this and I did this. And
I blew a dog once.
Yeah, shit like that. I put peanut butter on my dick and let a dog lick me to completion one time.
Was that tucked away so deep?
Yes.
Where it didn't even come up when you were.
I was always thinking about it. But it was
so it was right there.
Yeah, but it was like, dude, no truth serum could get this out.
Wow, you being such an open
you still
book.
had them.
Well,
at
no,
that time.
I'm an open book now because now I'm on a podcast telling 20,000 people that I had tits. Let's go, baby. Like,
right.
I feel I'm a free man. I still have issues, but I'm pretty much a free man as far as like. As far as this stuff, so
that feels good though.
Did you go to the beach?
Yeah, I just felt it. Yeah, I go to the beach now. Yeah. No, so okay, so I'm like, yeah, and I go to the beach.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So we're rocking and rolling. It starts getting real crazy. I'm living at home. I move out, and then I just kick the walls off the fucking place. I'm living in Glendale. I'm working in this magazine. I'm going crazy, and my mom, I'm starting to like crack up. I'm starting to call like 4 in the morning, like I have help, and then my family's there. I'm like, what are you here for? So it's like it got real bad. This is 2002. So my mom goes, you can come back and live at home, but you've got to get help. So like I went to like my first 12-step meeting. I lived around the corner from Los Encinas growing up, so that's where all like everybody goes. Like all the rock stars, where they fuck up, they go to Los Encinas. It's really crazy because it's probably been there for 120 years.
It's a rehab center.
It's a rehab center. It's like where all the big guys go. But it's not like a glamorous one. It's like hidden away. It's in Pasadena's beautiful. I'm a big fan of where I grew up. But it's funny because there's also what do you call it? A psych ward there. It's these grounds, and we would ride our bikes through there and throw Del Taco at the patients and be like, hey, what's up? You're crazy, bitch. And like, we were me and Casey, this guy Casey. So we both lived right there, and we would drive because it was a shortcut to our house. So it was beautiful. It was like out of a movie. So we'd go through Pasadena is old. So these old oak is the first suburb of Los Angeles. So these old oak trees and these old buildings from like the 1800s, turn of the century. It's kind of got like a One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest kind of feel. And we would take our the end of a Taco Bell, just throw it on people like you're crazy. Fast forward to years later, I'm picking him up out of there from his 3rd heroin detox. I'm like ready to go score. I'm like, I just got the chills again. I'm like, dude, remember we used to throw Taco Bells at these people? We are these people.
You turned
dude.
into those.
Yeah, and I'm in like some beat up car, and he's like, who cares? Just get in, brother. Like, let's go.
Say, then people start throwing tacos at you. I'm like eating the tacos.
Dude, that. If this was a joke, so you say how much of the story is real, I would use that. That you know that you're bullshit. That's funny. That's a funny tag. That's a funny button to that story. But so my mom, I go to my first thing. I say, okay, I'm gonna get off. And what I did was I was able to. I withdrew. I detoxed so many times. In 2003, I was able to go. Okay, I'm gonna smoke pot every waking hour. Pot's the only thing that helps. I'm gonna smoke pot every waking hour and just drink at night. And I was able to ride through like 2 weeks of withdrawal, and then started working at Trader Joe's again, who I had told to go fuck off.
Right.
I'm gonna be famous now. I'm working with all these guys, these jackass guys. I'm working at Big Brother magazine. I asked the same boss. He's like, "Well, look who didn't make it." He hired me probably for the joy of having me come back.
Yes,
and I was like, oh my. But I needed a job, and I was like, dude, I can call this dude, and he's like, "Welcome back." Whose writing career didn't work out? That. He didn't really say.
There's photos in the back.
Yeah,
Get to work.
It was like that, and so. I actually ended up quitting the magazine. I now know why. It's because I was just afraid of success. I have that. I'm getting over that. I mean, at the Cow,
I had that for a long time.
It's I'm not worthy of success. I'm not worthy of the spotlight.
I think a lot of people have that. I don't think that's unusual, especially in this town. People come and they torture themselves.
That's what it is. And I'm also in a 12-step program for that. I can't tell what any of these are, but I'm in a 12-step program for being afraid of money and being afraid of success. I've worked the steps in that, and I'm like, I just worked it within the last year, and now I'm like walking into success. So I'm like, oh, podcast, great. Like I don't even know. I didn't even Google you guys. I just yes, I'll show up. Comedy Store, like yes, I'll go on stage.
Thank God,
there's that
right?
fear.
No, kid, you wouldn't have come here. You wouldn't have come to the garage.
Dude, are you kidding me? This is like I said. This is great, man. This is great. This is great. It's a bunch.
It's fun.
I hope it helps someone. Hope someone's entertained by it. But
This
is fun.
I'm thinking. I'm looking at you, and I'm going to just do a career prediction.
All right.
I see you within the next 10 years traveling the country, speaking in large rooms with high schoolers as a motivational speaker. Don't be afraid of who you are.
Topless.
Shut the. Oh, really?
No, but I mean,
See what I'm dealing with?
for
Do you
get over your fears. Kind of thing,
yeah.
right? It's the 12th step.
You are
Topless.
Okay.
And then and I have tassels. I take my shirt off like
Lord,
that, and then I take them
Nice.
off.
See,
and
now
I,
he's taking it too far. I was being serious.
You were not. Look at that. Look at that. See what I'm dealing with? How can you be like sort of like an eagle when you're dealing with all these turkeys?
You got to fly above.
Thank you.
I have to put up a.
That was
those
funny though. That's
horrible.
That's
mediocre
hilarious. Are you
steps.
kidding me? That's hilarious.
But do you see that? I see you.
Well, here's the thing. You tapped on one of my fears. I'm afraid that I'm never going to make it as a comic, and that's what I'm going to end up doing.
No.
That's a fear of mine.
Yeah, but you're
I'm
hilarious.
going to be a motivational speaker and not be crushing it. But it's ego. I don't. Yeah, that's a fear of mine.
You have a
people
story,
tell me that.
You have a story that needs to be heard.
Well, he's
You know?
writing a script. What's the? Can we title the script? What's the title?
It's the title.
Tits are for kids.
God, Jesus, dude, that's better than what I have. No, I don't want to say. I don't want to spread it out there yet because I don't want it to lose. Not that I'm like I'm reading. I read a lot of books on success. You don't want to throw. I'm into vision boards, dude. Everything's coming true from my vision boards. It all works, dude.
Artist
all that.
Way?
No, I heard that came in. Like I heard about that recently, but
that's a good one.
Yeah, I made a vision board. I made one a year and a half ago. 2 years ago, and everything on 80 to 90% of the things, and I had like 20 things on my vision board, are all in my life, and it works. And I looked at it every day, and I was like, I just walked into it. So I'm in the process right now. I'm making another one.
Good for you.
I went down to the Range Rover. I really want. No, not Range Rover. Mercedes Benz. I want a G-Wagon. That's the coolest car. I think that'd be awesome. Imagine going down to Encino. This old Armenian guy was like, "You want to buy a car right now or what?" And I'm like, "I'd like to take a picture by one." And he's like, "Why?" And I'm like, I'm not gonna lie to this guy. I'm not gonna put shame into this. I'm like, for my vision board. And he's like, dude, the guy was like, "You piece of shit." Like he's like in a suit. He looks like an old mafia
You're
guy.
gonna bother me with this?
And he goes, "A vision board." I go, I put pictures on my wall, and he was like, "No." He's from the old school. He's like, "Do you know what I've?" In his head, he's like, "I've escaped Armenia persecution to come over here for the chance to sell." That doesn't work. He was like, "There's no," but I'm gonna buy it from him when I come back. So I was like hugging the car and taking pictures with him.
good.
So
Yeah.
I'm into that stuff, man. It works, dude.
It does work. Creative visualization.
Okay, that's what I'm telling you, man. Okay.
I love all this stuff. I watch all the videos, man. I watch all Wayne Dyer. I'm a huge fan. Wayne Dyer. I even like Joel Osteen. You know, like all the guys, all that kind of that whole world.
Did you ever dabble into the porno side of it with the Flint organization?
No, you know, that's a whole. Here's the thing. I used to go to Bukkake's, and that's a whole other story. And I told that on the Crab
Andy,
Feast.
you want me to tell you what that is?
See,
Explain.
See, there's so many different parts of my life.
Man,
I like
this
the
guy.
Bukkake
This guy
part.
is like a mini series.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we have enough material for North Carolina. We can just go right into Bukkake now.
Good point.
Really?
That's why Ryan probably is sickler. He was like, dude, they were tripping on me when because this is more.
He did. He was tripping.
Yeah, well, I was on fire when I was over there, but right now I'm like getting a more chill vibe, so I'm just like chilling with you guys. You know what I mean? So every podcast.
We don't want to put you on the spot.
No,
either,
no.
man. It's all good.
I will do that. I'm down to tell any story anytime. So, but I'm just saying we're having a beautiful moment. If you want to talk. Guys, Google Bukkake's. That's the story they want me to go in. It's like, you guys have been having smoothies. Now here's the bloody rare steaks coming right up. Like that's what. Like I'm down to serve those at the table. But your listeners have been like, we've been shaving coconut on and drizzling honey, and you even cried it was so tasty. And they're like, oh, so you were a butcher? I'm like, fuck yeah, we got grade A fucking. Oh yeah, we kill the cows. They're still alive when we're fucking sawing their heads. I got that too. So you want to you want to pop in Goodfellas, bro? We've got that in the book bag. But you know, we were having fried green tomatoes and everything was tasting just fine.
Now wait a minute.
what.
Hang on a second.
Here's what I'm thinking.
All right.
You guys write?
I sold a screenplay once.
Yeah, that's. I need. Would you look at the script that I'm doing right now after it's time?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have time for that shit.
I'm out, guys. I'm out. No, I'm just kidding.
Of course I would read it. I would love to read it.
Here's what I want. I want him to come back and maybe just do a full-on Garage of Love podcast.
The dark side.
That will not.
Okay.
That will not. You know.
The yin, the yang.
We'll put this on the dark net.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
The deep net. You know, the internet.
Isn't that what that is? The dark net? Yeah.
So the attorney I work for during the day, he's a buddy, and he was like, it's the perfect job. He's hooking me up, and I'm like, you know, I met this guy. He's about your age, and he was like, you know, what do you do? I was like, I'm a comic. He's like, dude, come work for me part time. I'm like, dude, I'm never working in an office again. He's like, I'm a lawyer. It's a small firm. It's just him, right? And I'm like, what do you do? And he's like, you know, we go to lunch and stuff. He's like a Santa Monica West Side guy.
We go to lunch and stuff.
Yeah, no, what was that funny? We go to lunch and stuff. I don't know.
What do you
It's
do
a
for a living?
perfect job
You
for
know?
me, man. I love
No,
lunch.
no, not the job.
I love lunch.
No, we would start. Yeah, no, we actually do go to lunch a lot. No. But he was like, I'm like, what do you do? And he's like, oh, I'm a payments and internet attorney. And I'm like, what is that? And he goes, dude, you don't want to know about the deep net. And so when shit goes wrong on the deep net, like, and I was like, I didn't even know what that was. So now I'm his assistant during the day, and I don't know if you guys know, but there's the weird part. The internet's a weird world, and when you get in trouble on the internet, you got to call Uncle Theo. That's who I work. That's who I work for. So we don't even meet the clients. They're on some boat in Bangladesh, you know, and they're like, oh, it's a weird. That's a weird world. But so I don't know why I work for an internet attorney. Very interesting. There's so many worlds within this world. It's just strange.
Right. And you know what? We're going to explore that next time you come back. And I would like just to make the announcement now that we will do one, maybe not for our good friends in Raleigh. Maybe it'll just be for our hardcore.
Uncensored or too hot for TV kind of a thing.
Maybe episode
Too hot for the radio.
Too hot for Raleigh.
Hey, oh my God. Would that be? Yes.
Maybe episode 100.
We're at like what executive producer of Love. How many episodes?
This is 89.
89.
Cool.
Okay. So maybe about 100. Let's just do the down and dirtiest podcast.
So also, do you want me to start to arc this one back home, or you want me to
let's
stop now, or
no,
what do you
no,
guys want to do?
Yeah,
We're
but I
gonna
say
put a bow in.
let's bring it around.
Okay.
You know, you had the surgery what year?
I had the surgery in 2008. Guys got Dr. Corbin. Shout out. He sucked those fuckers out. I spent all night with a hooker who was a dominatrix hooker. I'm bleeding out on my tits. That's gonna be the teaser to next. That's going to be the teaser to the next one. So I get the surgery. I'm 6 months sober. I call my heroin dealer, and he goes, I'll sell you heroin, but not cocaine. I'm bleeding out of my chest. He doesn't know why. I said I had a shoulder surgery. I paid him a shitload of money to give me the cocaine, too. I do a key. It starts blood starts coming out of my chest. He goes, and the Hollywood Hills. He's like, get out of my car. I go to Astro Burger. This is right before iPhones came out. Maybe they were just starting to come out, 2007, 2008. I go to an LA Weekly or an LA Express. I get a dominatrix hooker, and that is my last day. That's a whole night in and of itself. I cried hysterically, told her for the first time what my real problem was, and I have never taken a drink or drug ever since. That was May 31st.
That was rock bottom.
2008.
Great
but I'll
You got
get
a
into
birthday
that.
coming up.
Yeah, I got a birthday coming up, but I'll get into that. That's a whole. Once I put the needle in, all of a sudden, my friend starts doing steroids. We get involved with these dudes. We're doing weird stuff. I quit Trader Joe's to do real estate. I actually I'm so fearless. I'm selling industrial real estate to Israeli, Persian. It was like the Gaza Strip. It was just Middle East, right? And so here's a white kid, Catholic white kid, shooting heroin, not taking no for an answer. So like I'm scared of comedy. I'm not scared of selling a fucking rock building.
Oh my God.
To a thug, you know. So anyways.
All right.
I like this. We got to keep
Randolph,
So that's
Randolph.
there's that in there, but like I was just journaling at the cow, and so like I've been praying this whole day, so that's why like I'm trying to like there's a yin and the yang. You guys got the light, like I'll rain thunder next time, but right now I just want to shoot some love out to you guys. And when I heard the radio, I'm like, oh, you know what? You don't need to serve bloody meat to a vegan just to be cool.
on that
Steve
note.
Randolph, thank you for just bringing all your love. I kid you not. You
Can you tell the folks at home what the podcast is, and remind everybody how to find you?
I do a podcast. It's really good. If you guys
international,
the International Bad Boys. It's on all things comedy. It's my buddy Sam Tripoli. Shout out to Sam. Sam's been such a good friend to me. Sam has pulled me on to the stage for my first time. Sam's pulled me on the road for my first time. Sam introduced me to everybody at the Comedy Store, and Sam just pulled me into this podcast. So Sam Tripoli, big shout out, one of my forefathers in stand-up. Jason Tebow, love you. Adam, thanks for getting me the job at the Comedy Store, all you guys. So just Google International Bad Boys. I'm really proud of our podcast. We have the craziest people on. All my friends, because I grew up here, so all the guys that I'm shooting up with, oh, Sammy was in a box 2 years ago. He's sober now. Come on our podcast. So our podcast is just, we have madmen on our podcast.
Awesome.
So it's a great I'm proud of it. I would listen to our podcast. It's International Bad Boys. Just Google International Bad Boys podcast. I'm trying to say, I'll add anybody on Facebook. Steven Rand, can I just give it a little shout out?
Those guys, all that stuff.
Yeah. Steven Randolph, StevenRandolph. And so then my Instagram and Twitter is Steven Randolph 2, StevenRandolph 2 at Instagram, Twitter. Tweet at me. Tell me you love me. Tell me you hate me. Send me a private message if you have an embarrassing surgery. If you're struggling with something, hit me up. I get back to everybody in enough time. It takes a couple days to turn around, but hit me up. And also my buddy Feng Chao, who I've talked about, tweet at that little fucker. It's FENG.
Can we have him on?
Oh,
Will
he's
he come
great.
on?
Yo, dude, he's hilarious. Dude,
Oh my God.
he's a madman. But
Will you send
CHAO.
some people our way?
What's that? Oh,
Will you send some folks our way?
I love. That's the thing. We were talking about that before. It's cross pollination.
Yes.
Like
We've
dude,
both done the Crab Feast too, separately.
Oh yeah, no,
and the Sklar brothers and all kinds of stuff.
great. I know a lot of people at the Comedy Store. I know a lot of crazy people from. Dude, I believe like we serve. Like what did he say? There's the guy that. I forgot, there's a quote. He serves the movie, but it's like, dude, the story gets served. So it's like, how am I gonna have a guy on ours? It's like, dude, I believe like they should just go in the podcast circuit and everybody should hear from him. So I have a roster of just red hot storytellers,
Awesome.
and I would love to share everybody with you guys.
Steven Randolph, thank you for making the world a better place to be.
Thanks,
we are
man.
Chunky
Thank
B,
you, North
1 degree
Carolina.
of Chunky
Thank you,
B.
DP.
We love you, DP McIntyre, and of course all our super friends, DeBear and
Karen.
and Karen
And Mary.
McCoy. Keep fighting a good fight, and then Mary Kay, and even our country boy Dukes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Andy Davey, for being just a smooth
The manimal, the
criminal.
wizard.
Yeah, Andy, thank you. Good vibe. He's very good vibe across the way. Like
he's a good guy.
you anchor the whole thing.
We are Chunky
do.
B in the Garage of Love.
Also, that Lucky Duck, I've been looking at that beer. That's a really cool. I lived right by the when all hell broke loose again. I got shot out into Venice, and I would take walks into those canals. Beautiful. That I was looking at the Lucky Duck beer bottle. Their what do you call it? Their
logo.
Their logo is awesome. I love it.
Yeah.
Right on. All right.
It's two bartenders from Venice.
Super cool.
All right. Be real, be kind, be cool. Stay who you are. We are DONE.
Hit us up, folks.
Bye.